Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to share this reflection with you. Some of it is something I wrote in May, which a lot of it seems to be coming to full circle now. So I'm honored to share it with you. And I'm going to read it off the page, and hopefully I won't make a mistake, and I know you're loving and forgiving, so thank you for that. Okay. My dear, beloved UU family, I know things have been tough lately. Your holiday may have been a little rough. We're feeling all a little bit of that battle fatigue. Did you vote? Who did you vote for and why? I personally have been struggling finding my UU way of transforming myself and my world through love, justice, and peace. Many times I think I'm doing well, and then I say the wrong thing or the right thing in the wrong way. Sometimes my anxiety just takes over. I have definitely gained 5 pounds from stress eating. This new administration is of great concern to me. I have concern for my neighbors and for my loved ones. I was hoping that there would be some better choices for the top administration, but it is clearly not going to be an unbiased group. These people will have power to make our lives very difficult in pursuit of their own ends and in belief of their own religious right. As a homeless youth and a single mother, I'm used to desperate uncertainty. As a trained strategic planner, I fight that uncertainty with facts. I allay my fears by looking at those facts and assessing the worst possible scenario, and then I make a plan. I spent the time after the election reading, researching, and learning more about politics. I'm still fairly new. The more I learned, the more scared I became. Historical facts point to trends that may have dire consequences for the American people. Never in all of my time have I looked into the future and saw a more bleak, worst-case scenario. By the time I was done, I was kneeling on the floor with my head in my hands thinking, wow, this could get very ugly. I sat up and I started to rise, but a dark thought hit me before I could even get off my knees. What if I suddenly have to be on the run someday? Because I will not sit quietly by while they drag my neighbors away. A fact that is not histrionic, but chronic in history. It has happened countless times in countries all over the world. And then I remembered all of you. And my heart got big, and I felt some relief. I've met many of you. I learned that you are an amazing bunch of courageous, strong warriors of peace and justice. I've seen you stand strong against hate and bigotry and inequality. I know you won't be silent. We can act together, and we will make a difference. I jumped off my knees then, ready to start drafting my plan. But I found those plans already underway. Many Americans are waking up. Movements and causes are banding together to increase their power. A prime example is the encompassing demands of the 99% that they will bring to the White House during the inauguration. It is no mass deportations, stop all attacks on human rights, Black Lives Matter, honor treaty rights for all Indigenous First Nations, get money out of politics and end corporate rule, healthcare as a human right, a new Green Deal and act against climate change, free college education and the cancellation of student debt, electoral reform and integrity, end too big to fail, no permanent war, end the surveillance state, pass a federal 15-hour minimum wage, and scrap the Trans-Pacific Partnership. It's a long list, but it's been a long time coming. And what's more, I found that the whole world has woken up. People are fighting these same problems all over the globe. There is now a real-life world war going on. It is not a typical war. It's a war of clean energy versus oil and all its fossil fuel equivalents. First Nations from all over the world are gathering at Standing Rock right now to stop the Dakota Access oil pipeline. We've had people from our congregation go as well. And an army of hundreds of veterans is coming on December 4 to respond to the violence of corporations and governments against peaceful water protectors. They are flying the flag upside down in distress. The world is watching. We will not have our world be forever damaged by greed. The good news is that humankind has been unleashed by the internet. We can educate ourselves and innovate outside of the corporate structure, and then crowdfund those innovations to share around the world for the benefit of humanity. We have done this already with wind and solar to great effect. In fact, if we want to, we could build a fossil fuel structure for the entire world today. Today. It can be done. Don't believe me? Google Bill Nye. Look up Tesla. Check out wind and solar all over the world. People are successfully disconnecting from the grid. We can run our homes, our businesses, and vehicles on clean energy. It is now officially cheaper to make and run wind and solar than it is for fossil fuel. This is the tipping point. This is the point where people start buying into green energies and the clean transformation takes place. And any business will move in the direction that the consumer drives them. So it will take off. In fact, the world agrees with that point and that global warming is real. The Paris Accord was signed by 193 parties, representing 79% of global emissions, and even more countries signed on at the climate talks in Morocco. The green genie has left the bottle, and the future of clean energy is on the way. So the final analysis is that it's good odds that we are going to make it as a species. We have science and we have each other. It's going to be okay as long as we hang on and actively participate in our mutual goal with the other good citizens of the world. That is something to celebrate. And since I can't sing, I thought we might move our body in mind or spirit and shake off some of the tension. So, Ricky, can you drop me a beat? Yes? All right. I appreciate you letting me express myself in this way. I know and I see the quiet Quaker ways in this congregation. I have deep respect for the roots of this faith. But the time to be quiet has passed. Now is the time. I call upon you to put down your quiet Quaker ways. The world needs to hear the teachings of the UU faith. I want to make some noise. And what's more, Facebook has opened my eyes. If 50% of people are religious nuns who choose no faith because negative forms of religion have soured them, and yet they still act on the belief that we should all be kind, loving, and peaceful, then there is a huge number of people that could benefit from the justice, equity, compassion, and logic found in UU. And if there are 50% of people that are independent voters who believe the system is rigged and that exclusionary religion has hijacked our politics and our power, then I say, let's use the right of conscience within our congregation to educate society at large that the democratic process can be and should be like the UU faith, independent, party-free, and based solely on peace, liberty, and justice for all. If there was ever a right and perfect time in history to practice the UU faith, our time is now. Because the UU faith is the religion of the new global world. A world where for the first time in human history, we have free access on the internet to the sum of all knowledge, all religions, all history, all reason that supports peace and prosperity. It is short-sighted, I believe, in these times to choose one religion or wisdom over another. If we are to survive and succeed, we must harness the collective conscience of the ages. We are uniquely designed to be a faith of our modern times because we are simple and clear-cut in our guiding words. We are not hampered by dogma and weighed down by voluminous religious texts that require ciphering to understand. When I looked up the source of the Bible quote for the children's story I shared earlier, my internet search turned up 22 versions of the Bible to choose from. 22! How am I supposed to figure that out? It was overwhelming. It's like an impossible hill to climb. And I believe religion was designed that way because it was developed in a different time, thousands of years ago, when information and knowledge came from a few educated men who owned books and could read to the masses, which in turn set up and reinforced the dynamics of a privileged class that endures today. But we as UU have 7 simple statements called principles that stem from 6 encompassing sources. Guiding words that when placed side by side fit easily on 1/2 of an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. They are short, they are easy to read. You can carry the entire text of our faith in your back pocket. And you can begin acting on them as soon as you read them. In fact, acting out our faith is how we build upon it. Recording those actions is how we create our texts. Those texts are both concrete and ephemeral. They evolve as we evolve. They are made in every interaction, every letter, email, blog, Facebook post, tweet, and every communication that we have with one another, and also send out to the digital world at large. These living texts record what meaning we find on our journey, one that begins each day as we march forth, honoring the inherent worth and dignity of every person, while conducting a responsible search for truth and meaning, striving for the goal of world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all. This is an exciting time because there has never been a time in history when a faith is being developed that the message was so short and yet so profound. And there has never been a time where a new thought could be shared to the entire planet at once with the click of one person's index finger. The intersection of these two create a powerful force that could be unstoppable. It is the right message at the right time with the right medium. Indeed, as Reverend Ron said, we are the vanguard of that long arc of the universe that bends towards justice. Or, as the dictionary defines it, UUs are in a unique position. Being vanguards, we are at the forefront of new development or ideas. For being UU means that we no longer look to an outside entity to save us. No longer do we live under the threat of mortal sin and judgment. We are the ones who will save ourselves. We have faith in each other. And more than ever, we must elevate that faith. We must shout that it exists, because when we educate the world about UU, when we show the unloved and isolated that we exist, when we amass a large portion of the 50% nuns of religion and the 50% independence of politics together, we will have a vast army of caring, educated, compassionate individuals who will see peace, wisdom, and our interconnectedness clearly. This army will then be compelled to act, not for the purposes of war, but to put their efforts together in combating all the reasons why wars are waged. The main reason of which lies solely in the struggle and fight for resources of the planet by its people. This peaceful army will be powerful. It will deflate and make flaccid the engorged lust for wars enacted for centuries under the guise of the superiority of religion and spurned into being by the brute force born of pure greed. If we, the logical and the loving, band together, if we dare to put the awesome power of true love to work, we can put an end to hunger, put an end to religious and social divides, put an end to energy wars. This end will be a new beginning in which we will transform our society and our planet from the brink of possible extinction at our own hands into a healthy, verdant, peaceful, and abundant place for all. Thank you.